well as their academic work. So I'm going to turn it over to Sharon Bradley, and Sharon, you can take it away. So am I focused on Sharon?
Alrighty, am I on? I have the eyeball on me now.
Are we recording? Okay, great. All right.
I am very happy to be here and talk this afternoon with you about ePortfolios. This is a subject that I ventured into last year when we decided to use this. I'll go to the next slide. When we decided to use ePortfolios in, as Jennifer said, the RN to BSN program, which is an online program that we offer. We had a previous RN to BSN program, but we reactivated it in 2014, and we moved it to online. Previously, it had been an on-campus program, so that brought its own challenges. And one of the things that we needed to, kind of reconcile early was how were we going to award the credit that, and it's 30 credits that the Florida Department of Education allows and encourages articulation of associate degree nurses into baccalaureate programs, really all over the state. And that, the aim of that is to get more practicing nurses, out there where we need them, and to, partially relieve the nursing shortage. So the Department of Education permits us to give those 30 credits by one of three options. And the first option are challenge exams. The second option is an escrow credit. And the third option is a portfolio review. So we had used challenge exams previously, and we felt like they were punitive. That was just not something that we wanted to get into, that we were going to continue to explore it. The escrow credit was simply, you just gave them the credit, which to us really lacked any rigor, or that it didn't show anything for the work that they had done. But the portfolio review was very, interesting. And with an online program, we felt like the ePortfolio, that was a match that was just perfect for this program. So it was a great solution for us, and it was, it was going to meet that requirement and allow us to validate, their professional practice and their program as they went through it. So then we needed to kind of figure out, how are we going to do this ePortfolio? We knew we needed some sort of a format to house and collect those documents. And we also knew that we needed some way to evaluate or assess that product. Especially, 30 credit hours was a lot of credit. Mm-hmm. But these are our practicing nurses, and, they're permitted to have this credit based on the additional experiential learning that they have after they've completed their program. We also wanted the ePortfolio to be able to flow across several courses in the program. We didn't want it to just be a storehouse for documents that they put online, or that you just took your resume and kind of stuck things up there. We wanted it to, to live and to reflect some of the personality maybe that they had, or highlight some of the things that were unique about each of the students. So of course we hop over to the literature and see what we can find. We couldn't find anybody at the university really using ePortfolios. But we, looked in the literature. We found, some literature. We found a lot of literature that included other disciplines, not just nursing. There was, a lot of other health professions were included. But in nursing, the literature was really fairly sparse and scattered. But two principles came out of it for us. And the first one was that we really needed to incorporate multiple aspects of learning over time and just show that progression through the program. And then the second thing that we learned was that reflection was a very key component of an ePortfolio, to allow them to have time to go back and self-reflect and look back on the experiences or the things that they had done previously, and see how that fits with their new program and with the outcomes of our program. So it was, those were the two really important things. So we started for developing the ePortfolio. We developed a purpose, and the purpose of it was to document the evidence of all of the baccalaureate program objectives that they would have met by the end of the program. So out of that, we came up with 3 objectives that were for the ePortfolio. And the first one was that we wanted the ePortfolio to meet the course objectives. And we, as I said, we were going to use this across several courses, 3 of them actually. We also wanted, for the second objective, we wanted to show that the students were meeting the baccalaureate program outcomes, which are basically our SLOs, or our student learning outcomes, and our program outcomes are the same. So we wanted to demonstrate that students had met that. And then the last objective, we wanted it to show that our students were meeting our accreditation professional standards. And those are by the American Association of Colleges of Nursing. So they have a document called the Essentials. And we really, that is something that we as health professionals, we have to very much adhere and be in alignment with our accreditation standards. So we chose to show that as well. So with those 2 important pieces that we needed to incorporate, the first one was, what were the requirements that we wanted to put in our ePortfolios? And for us, that was the much easier part of it, to say, well, yes, we know we want to put this in, we know we want to put that in, we want to show, and really it was based on the program outcomes and the essential criteria, that we knew that we needed various pieces of evidence that demonstrated they had met those, and that we wanted to include the reflection, that we could show that, they had growth and development across the program. The second piece, developing the assessment process, was really the more challenging piece that we did. And it needed, this assessment process needed to include, both the technical criteria as well as showing that they were meeting program outcomes. And we really learned, I think one of our takeaway lessons was that we needed to figure out what was going to be the assessment process before developing the process. And we were a little slow, I would say, in finalizing the assessment tool that we were to use in the last semester. Um, because we felt like students need it. Did we lose connection? Are we good?
I don't know.
Okay.
Okay.
Tony just said something.
She would try to enter.
Oh, did you let in?
No, you.
I got rid of it.
Oops. I think we're still here.
I'll ask.
No.
Okay, they can hear us. We are still here.
We are still here.
Perfect.
They can hear us, but they can't see
So,
us.
did we kick Tanya out?
Yeah,
Or
I can email her.
can they see us?
They can see you and they can hear you, so we're all set.
Okay.
The only thing missing is the text up there.
Okay. I guess I kind of forgot where I
I'm
was.
sorry, I'll get you back there.
I'm sorry.
No, it's not you, it's me. Hang on, folks, while we get back on track here. We got a little bit off track.
We're used to technology, so I think that was where I was. And I think I was just talking about the aspect that we were a little bit slow in developing exactly how our assessment was going to be at the end. So that's one of our lessons that we did learn, that, you know, it's really needed to have that done early on in this process. We did know that we wanted to use the reflection writing. We wanted to include exemplars, some of the clinical exemplars, and some of the application exemplars that students had done throughout the program. And then we also wanted them to demonstrate leadership development, which was another component that is one of the differences between associate degree education and baccalaureate degree education. Okay, now I think we can go on. As Jennifer mentioned in the beginning, the RN to BSN program is a 5-semester program. These are working nurses, and we specifically placed various requirements of the ePortfolio in 3 of the curriculum courses. They start the ePortfolio in the first semester. They learn, you know, what the ePortfolio is, and they set up the basic structure for their ePortfolio. And they include in their ePortfolio their resume, and they get instructor feedback on that, as well as their introduction and bio sketch and a professional statement. And they also get feedback from their instructor on that. And then those components are graded and scored in the first semester. And when they get to the third semester, really that is where we do the bulk of the work on the ePortfolio. It's a seminar course, and it is devoted to the ePortfolio development. And what we do is add various pieces of coursework and exemplars that they have had in the first 2 semesters. They already have the basic ePortfolio started, but now I have them start adding these pieces to it. And the instructions are that they are to revise any assignment that they got based on their instructor feedback. And then they write reflections. Now, I also cover some information with them on what is a reflection. You know, how do they go about a reflection? What do they write? What do they include? Because we knew this was a key component that we wanted to include. And then the last piece is we plan for the remaining components that are going to go in their ePortfolio. So they know in either the courses that they're currently taking or the courses that they'll have in the fourth semester, that these are the certain pieces that we will utilize for their ePortfolio. Then in the last semester, they collect all of their work, and any final semester work is included. And they demonstrate and fully develop any of the leadership activities that they have done through the program. And then we complete the assessment review process. So that's just kind of a snapshot view of how we chose to do this in nursing. Now, for this assessment process, we used a small team of faculty. Basically, it was the 3 faculty that were involved with those 3 courses, or the 3 faculty that taught those 3 courses. All of us were very engaged in ePortfolios, and we all were very, positive about them. We conveyed that to the students. We were basically like champions of the ePortfolio. And we felt like that was really important, that we needed to all be together and all kind of be speaking the same language, that we couldn't have components, from an earlier semester that were not satisfactory when they got to a 3rd semester or a 5th semester. So we worked really hard in coming together and collaborating and, really establishing what we felt like was, acceptable, and, how we wanted the students to develop their ePortfolios. So we all, settled on it, what our final product was going to look like. We developed an evaluation form or an assessment form, and we sent that to the academic dean and the faculty and got their approval. And then in the final semester, the 3 faculty team members evaluated all of the student ePortfolios. And what we did is we did them separately and scored all of them separately, and then we came together. And, we wanted to ensure that we had some reliability with how we were scoring. And we discussed any that we had differences of opinions on. And we looked at, what, was it us? Was it, and we even went back on some of them and said, well, now we've learned that this is what we're really looking for, or we might have been a little harsh in the beginning, or vice versa. So we really came together and felt like we established, good reliability for that, and scored the form, signed the form, and then that became part of their academic record.
Now, this could not have been a small task.
No.
Because you had 60 students or so, right?
I think we had 30 the first go round, and now we have 60.
Okay.
So
I can just imagine for each of 3 faculty to look at every portfolio, score it, discuss, and then potentially re-look at least some of them. And then rescore those.
We blocked out a great portion of one day, because we did our homework before we got together, but surprisingly enough, we were very much together on a lot of them. So our time of, discussing the ones that we felt differently about was not as, and actually we ended early that day, believe it or not, but it was, I think we all kind of dreaded the onerous appointment on our calendar that was blocked for like 5 hours. It was like, we all were like, oh my gosh, Friday afternoon, 5 hours, we're gonna be crazy. But it really worked out fairly well. Now it may not this time. And we do have 60 students, and we may have to think about, should we add another team member, or should we divide them up, or, we haven't quite gotten to that yet, but certainly it could get even bigger. So that might not be realistic if you had hundreds of students.
At least not, unless somehow they're staggered, so it's not
Right.
all 100
A
of
bulk of them at
every
once.
term. I know in the theater department, and we held portfolio reviews every single semester for all the design students. So
Yeah.
all of both reading days every term were blocked off for those and of course those are in-person interviews
Yeah.
with physical portfolios.
Like the traditional
Yeah, the
portfolio
traditional
that you think
portfolio.
of.
Yeah.
Oh, well, we're not art students, we can't do portfolios. That's kind of what I saw the students, that said things to me. We're thinking, oh, we can't do that. We don't have any artwork to put in there or drawings. I'm like, do not fear, you do not have to do artwork. So that, I mean, like I said, the assessment process is really the thing that takes the most amount of time, from the development of it to finalizing that to then actually reviewing and carrying it out. One resource, as I was working on some of these points, that I discovered is that the CITT website now has some new information on there about ePortfolios, and it was very helpful. So I encourage you, if you're interested, that it's an excellent resource to look at. It's got an overview. It's got, some of the things that I need to do to get started that I've already mentioned. And they also have some other helpful resources that you can draw upon as well. One thing I wanted to mention here in talking about the ePortfolio platform, the only one that was available for us to use when I started this last year was the ePortfolio in Canvas. And, I had kind of looked around on the internet and had seen others, but, at the current time, at the time last year, that was really all the option that we had. And since it was integrated into Canvas, that was a positive. Canvas also does have helpful resources and guides that walk the students right through setting it up. But I see on the CITT website some other platforms that they mention that I've listed on this slide, including Portfolio Gen and Wix, and both of those were new to me, and I looked at both of them. I actually tried to make a portfolio in the Portfolio Gen, but had some difficulty. I then went to Wix because I thought, oh, I'm going to create one and show it to you, but I was not successful. So maybe somebody else knows more about that platform than me. Wix, I really liked the looks of it, and it seemed very user friendly. So that would be one that I would be interested in considering if that is an option
Now,
for us.
one thing that we might want to mention here is that there is a UF Core organization and design happening now. And so that starts with the Good Life as the first year experience, and then the student has the choice to take one of several courses in the social sciences and in the physical sciences. And then the third year, there is an experiential component, and the fourth year, there is an internship or some other sort of similar activity. And underlying all of that is an ePortfolio, the idea that they would collect artifacts of their learning and evidence of their learning throughout the whole time here at the university. So the nice thing about that is that there will be a tool that will be centrally supported, and students will have experience with by the time they get to their upper division courses, if faculty would like to use them. Is there a question?
No, Allison is saying that she had heard that the
Yep.
core was moving towards ePortfolio.
Yes. So actually, is that Ellison Reynolds?
Haskell.
Oh, Allison Haskell. So as I'm not sure if that committee has met yet. They had not met as of last summer. But they will be getting work very soon, and they will be looking at platforms and
that is very exciting. So maybe some of them will watch this presentation.
Well, and actually, last summer we spoke to some of the people on the committee, and they were like, "Hey, do you know anything about ePortfolios? Can you tell us about it?" And and I said, "Well, not yet. Actually, we were hoping you would have something to share." So I think this will be very helpful to them.
Yeah. Google also has a platform, and I had looked at it last year, but decided, we'll just stick with Canvas and, keep it all seamless. Another one that I found was My ePolio, and that is the one that Auburn University uses, and they have a university-wide ePortfolio. And if I have time, I'll show you that at the end. And they have a contract with the company, and they obviously pay for it. After students graduate, they can elect to pay for it. And I want to say it was $15 or $20 a year. So it was not, it was not cost prohibitive, but I don't know how many years you'd want to be paying that. And so I think that this will be a very interesting discussion that needs to be taken seriously, because it will affect so many aspects of developing the ePortfolio and using the ePortfolio. So things that worked well for us, students really like the ePortfolio. And as I was listening to what Jennifer said about the core, that would be awesome. I'm thinking, well, our traditional baccalaureate students would come with it. They would have it already, ready to go. But our accelerated track or second degree students come to us with baccalaureates, and they may be from here and they may not be from here. So they may not have an ePortfolio. Of course, we have not incorporated it into either of those programs yet. But our RN to BSN that I'm talking about right now, again, they would not have done any lower division at the university either. So we might have to do a catch-up course anyway. But we would want to have something seamless if, that's what the university.
Well, the nice thing is if there is a central tool that the university chooses, there will be support for that. There'll be training and workshops and examples and so forth and so on.
See, that would be awesome.
So that would get that piece off your back.
Yeah.
At least
and then we could focus on some of the other important things of the ePortfolio. One of the things that I learned is that the students really need the clear instructions. They appreciate any of the walkthroughs. Um, we learned, I learned really pretty early on that students really needed me to give them the layout of the ePortfolio in Canvas and basically tell them what it should look like. So in order to do this, I did a sample ePortfolio in Canvas, which I think if you can click on it, it should pull up an ePortfolio I did for myself. And hopefully, I don't know if we're gonna have to log in or,
Once you made it public.
in Canvas, if you give somebody the link, they should be able to access it. There it
There it
is.
is.
I look like I have
You
freckles.
have it? Did
I
it shine it to you?
can, but I have to share the screen differently for others to see it.
Okay,
Hold on
so,
for just a second while she
yep.
gets that done.
okay, catch up.
I have to open up a new SharePod. Share. And just a second, it takes a while.
So just bear with us. We're dealing with the technology here, folks.
There we go.
Can you
All right.
see it? Okay, great.
Yeah, we can see it.
So you will see the sections down on the left that I gave them that they needed to incorporate. So they set their ePortfolio up like mine. And if you click on like Introduction and BioSketch, then you will see, actually, I think it's maybe below the picture. Yes, there it is. You'll see, I put a blurb up there about myself and actually on my academic role, it was kind of like I couldn't really completely make it as a student one, but I tried to show that. It also allows you to put a photograph. We were not successful in putting more than one photograph. It may have just been our limitation of knowledge. But, students could have a little bit of, originality or creativity with their photograph. We adhered to the standard of it being a professional portfolio and that, their schoolwork and their future employers would be professional. So it would not, there were certain things obviously that would not be appropriate, but no one, we didn't have any trouble with that. But some students didn't even, choose to put a photograph, but I think it really makes it personal if they do. And I really liked reviewing the ones that had it. So then if you look up above, then the next category was for their CV or their resume. And with it, it's a document that they can click on and download. Now, a couple of students were successful in copying and pasting it onto this page, but that was very cumbersome, especially if you had a lot of different items in your resume or your CV. The spacing was off and you didn't have any variation of fonts or it was just much more difficult. So they added it as a document here. Then they wrote, all of them had written a personal philosophy of nursing. And I did have one on my philosophy of nursing and nursing education. So I put it there. I mean, being a narrative, the copy and paste worked really well for it, and it looked great. It was just, I think with the tabs and the chart kind of the CV, it was, and then you'll see they have the professional nursing coursework and when you click on it, they have multiple courses. And this is just a scattering of the first 3 courses that they included, and I don't have anything under them. I think the next sections are blank, but we have a reflective clinical exemplar that goes there. They include the career trajectory and any professional development in there. And then click on the last one. I'm not sure if that document is there. Yes, it is. But we have the chart, the abbreviated version of the BSN Essentials, the accreditation criteria. And then we have our program outcomes. And then the students develop, and I just started, I think, two of them, I believe. They have to come up with and develop over the program examples of how they demonstrate that they have met those objectives. And these can be, they all work in a variety of settings, and they have, all of them have these things. They have to work and think about how these are applied, in their practice. But they did an amazing job on these. That, the finished product was outstanding, that they could come up with those examples. So this is unique to nursing, more so. All right, so that is what the ePortfolio looks like that I did. I talked about us, the three of us that were champions, and assessing the final product. Those were the things that really worked well. I would encourage you to have, more than one person as a team in your department or college, because it really helped us to have that consistent message, to all kind of be singing the same song and, answering questions similar for what we expected from them. And then on the next slide are some of the advantages. Some of the advantages of the ePortfolio are that it's a mobile product. With the ePortfolio link, students can share it with, other people, other instructors, potential employers. Possibly they might be looking for internships or residencies. And it can really be, a place where they share their accomplishments and their work. And, as I read about these, I see that employers prefer this. And if students or if potential employees have, other ways of showcasing their work, this might really give somebody an advantage to getting a highly competitive job or a, highly desirable job. I think it's easily adaptable to multiple uses. Certainly the ePortfolio is an educational, ePortfolio right now, but it does not take a lot of editing to actually change it to be for a potential employer. So I think it could be easily adapted to multiple work. It's student-directed learning, which, is another positive. The reflection provided tremendous insight that, I think all of us were really surprised that the insight that they developed, after those courses were over and after they went back and worked on things with additional knowledge. ePortfolios are very easily expandable. They can easily add a category that, might not have been utilized in education that they can use in their career. So I think some of the challenges that that we faced, I mentioned the Canvas platform was limiting to us in many ways. We couldn't change some of the layouts or add some of the creative features that we would like to have allowed. I think Canvas can be a little bit confusing, and that's why I stress the importance of providing them, kind of exactly how you want it set up. Because with students ventured on that, without a lot of direction, those ePortfolios were all over the place. So we had to kind of, rein them in and get them all straightened out. I think it's important to have buy-in from academic leaders, and it sounds like the university has buy-in, which is a real plus, I think, to faculty, and that will help us be successful as we use these. One of the things that we're not sure about is how long a student might have access to Canvas after they graduate.
Well, that would be as long as they have their GatorLink username, the GatorLink ID access, which I think maybe there's someone from CITT that could tell us how long that is. Is there any of the folks that know how long it is? I
After
think
they graduate.
After they graduate, it's at least 6 months, but I don't know if it's longer than that. Does anybody know the answer to that question? Anybody?
Allison is typing. She said she's not sure. She'll check.
Okay, thanks, Allison.
Okay, great. But that was something that, we thought, well, if this product goes away 6 months after they graduate, there's all this work, and they need to be able to access it or transfer it or something.
Well, I don't think the ePortfolio goes away. I think it's just the student access through the GatorLink username password goes away.
So Heather answered.
Oh, Heather did?
And said 6 months is guaranteed, but if you use it, it won't be deactivated.
Oh, good to know.
Good to know. Very good to know. So if they are actually using the email, it won't go away. Okay. Interesting.
Cool.
I've learned something.
All right. Woo-hoo.
Okay, good. Let's see. Let's move along since you didn't give me 2 or 3 hours.
Sorry about that.
I don't understand that. I've got the next couple of slides are just some examples, which we may want to skip. This is one of my students that did an ePortfolio, and so you can see what hers looks like. And she has all of her coursework in there. And her picture's large like mine was. And maybe, probably don't have time to click on the evidence-based practice poster. They up a couple, click on that. They did do a group poster presentation. You actually may have to click on that link again. And it's in VoiceThread, and I'm not sure if it's going to let us in. But they did do a poster as a group. And of course, they really moaned and groaned and, just didn't think they could do these posters, but just pause it so it doesn't play. They did an awesome job on posters, and in the end, they all were so proud of their poster and, wanted their poster in there. And so I just wanted y'all to see that.
Were you able to show that out?
And then I think the last 2 slides, okay, that is our ePortfolio credit worksheet. Now it's 3 pages in length, and this is just 1 page. but we developed the criteria and assigned the point value. We checked, if they met it and the date. And then the last page, we added up the points that they have. We set a minimum for what they had to get in order to be awarded the 30 credits. We used it the first time in the summer and made some edits on it that we would like incorporated for next summer when we use it again. So we've sent those to the academic dean. And then I think it's just the last two slides. And I mentioned Auburn, but I also will mention Clemson University. They have an office of ePortfolios, and they will help students with the creation of an ePortfolio for whatever reason. It sounds like they also will help faculty with it. Doesn't look like they have a university-wide initiative, possibly moving towards that. And then the last slide is Auburn. And if you click on it, that page gives you some of their examples of their ePortfolios, and obviously these are from many different backgrounds of art and business. And, but there's the engineering one. But you can see all the creativity, and you can click on any of them and look further. But just for us to be inspired of where we might go with this.
So may we share your
Yes,
PowerPoint?
absolutely.
That
Please
has the
do.
link so
Yeah.
folks can click on those and look at those various
Yeah.
examples. That's
Yeah,
great.
absolutely. And then just last, I want to say, that I'm very excited about ePortfolios. I'm passionate about us and how we've used them and hopefully expand them. And that I'm happy for, anybody to contact me that has more questions, or, if I can provide you any information or help, I'm happy to do that. So please share. And
so do we have any questions from folks? Any questions or thoughts or comments? Anybody else on the session that is using ePortfolios? Would like to share what they're doing?
Yeah, that would be great. I'd love to hear about them.
Did you activate the speakers before I got on? Because I can give audio rights.
Yeah, speaker should be working.
You have microphone rights, so if you have a microphone with you, you're welcome to use it now. So Amy said she's about to initiate the use of this in the Innovation Academy. So she is getting some
awesome.
ideas from this.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, well, I would love to hear about what she's gonna
Can
do.
Amy give us a little few more details on what
Yeah,
she's doing?
Amy, are you able to, do you have a mic? Are you able to hop on and tell us what you'll be doing? Heather said that she wanted to add that the portfolio URL can be submitted to an assignment and graded through SpeedGrader.
Yes. Thank you, Heather. Hi, Heather.
And Jason said, have you considered using any platforms other than Canvas to host the portfolios?
We would like to consider other platforms, but we're not sure just yet, who could help us with that. So I would be very interested in trying a different platform next time.
So when is your next cohort going to be going through?
I am currently teaching this course again. So we've already started, but we will admit another cohort in the spring. So it's around the corner.
Okay.
So
So I'm not sure how quickly the UF Core group will be able to work. But the UF Core is supposed to launch we're launching the newly redesigned Good Life course in summer of 2017. So that'll be summer B 2017. So I don't know if that's going to be enough time for them to identify portfolio tools and pilot them. It may be that we end up piloting someone in the hopefully not in the Good Life course. That course is way too many people, but so it's, my guess is there will be some pilots this spring, at least I would hope. But I don't know that a final decision will be made before fall of 2017.
So if anybody's out there, I would volunteer to pilot with a cohort.
Okay, great.
You know, we would have, we're actually going to have maybe 90 students. And so we probably will have to have 3 sections of this course. So maybe one section
could test out
could pilot. Yeah, I would.
So Allison Haskell said that if students create portfolios outside of Canvas, would the tool used need to go through a security process? Boy, that's a really good question.
Yes.
I think if it's, so this is not in any way, shape, or form any type of official ruling on that. But my guess is that if a student does it on their own, using the tool of their choice, that would be up to them. But if it's a tool that is dictated to them by the instructor, the department, the program, whatever, then it would have to go through privacy and security. Okay. Amy says she doesn't have a mic, and she says that they're thinking about implementing them across the 4-year curriculum, introducing in the freshman year and using it as a culminating assignment in the senior project course. We're looking to incentivize it with accolades. We've somewhat modeled it after what they do in the graduate entrepreneurship program at UF. Yeah, that sounds really great.
That does sound good.
One thing that we've been trying out with the Good Life course is, so we've got a few assignments that will lend themselves to the portfolio as they are now, and then we're redesigning some other things so that they will fit with the portfolio idea. So for example, the culminating project in the Good Life course is an audio essay, and that essay would go into the portfolio. They also use Adobe Spark to create a digital reflection on their attendance to a theater performance or a visit to the Harm Museum or a visit to the Museum of Natural History. So we're starting to really try to up their digital literacy. The This I Believe audio essay is also one where they enter into a competition, and the top essay from each section, so each section has about 300 students in it, the top essay from each section is a finalist that goes into a institutional repository with the UF libraries. And then of those essays, the very top 2 essays actually will receive a scholarship, a $500 scholarship. So that's something that we're kind of, trying to get a little competition in there involved in it, and plus a little bit of, sort of publishing. So it kind of ups the stakes on the assignment when there's that kind of thing involved. So those are a couple of things that are coming.
That's my wheels are turning. Thinking about, we'll have 3 sections.
Yeah. So as we redesign the Good Life course, the students will likely have some experience with some different tools, I think, electronic platform types of tools. The Adobe Spark tool is super easy to use and has been extremely successful with the engagement of those, we call them common activities, giving the students kind of a different way to share their impression of the experience and what they've done. So that's.
And that's the audio file.
No,
No,
that's actually images plus text. So
Okay.
the Spark project is images plus text, and then the audio file is just an audio recording. And we actually went back and forth on that, considering making it a video recording. But I actually recommended against making it a video recording because in the UF Online version of the Good Life course, we do that. The students actually do a video presentation in addition to their audio presentation. And the nice thing about the audio recording is that the student really just focuses on, effectively communicating this personal value or belief that they have. And it with the video, there are so many other things to think about. You got to think about how you look, where you're standing, your lighting. You can't just read it because then you look like you're reading. That looks terrible. So
where's your camera?
Yeah, where's the camera? Is the camera shooting up your nose? Whatever. So the audio only just sort of strips away all of that other stuff, and it has been a hugely successful assignment in that course.
See, that's interesting. I'm actually sitting here thinking that maybe we should do one of our reflections as an audio file.
The nice thing about the audio is that it provides sort of a different way for a student to communicate a personal feeling and emotion. Now, text is one thing, but not every student can effectively communicate using text. But the audio gives the student just another way of doing it.
But I think how important communication